Welcome to Monologues by Hassie, where I'm going to be dropping unsolicited brain dumps from the depths of my grey matter. I'll talk about life, money, society, and self-development, plus whatever else lies up there, whilst hopefully not getting cancelled in the process. Hard path, easy life. Easy path, hard life. What do I mean by that? Now, part of it is a reminder to myself, but this also goes out to everyone who's listening to this, who's working on something challenging, be it transforming yourself, doing something at work, a personal project, it really doesn't matter. And what this phrase really gets to is that if you take a hard path, your life will become easier. There will be rewards for having taken that hard path. But on that hard path, you'll look to the paths to your left and right, which could be easier paths, and you will see people having a great time in the present. But what will happen is, as they go down those paths, they will have a hard life. And the thing about this statement, hard path, easy life, easy path, hard life, is that whilst this might not be true in the present, because anyone who chooses to be on the hard path today will see that their peers are enjoying their time. They might be at parties, doing drugs, drinking, you're relaxing every weekend, and you're not on that path right now. You're grinding away at the library. You could be swimming in preparation for a triathlon. You're doing something that's physically and or mentally demanding, and often they go hand in hand. And in the moment, it looks like, well, you're on the hard path, but you have a hard life. And it looks like your peers who are on the easy path are having an easy life. But as time goes on, you will see that there is a significant deviation. Those who chase the short-term rewards often lose out on the long-term. And this gets thrown around a lot, but the Stanford marshmallow experiment, which they conducted in the 1970s, is a perfect example of this. So how the experiment worked is that they took a group of preschoolers and they offered them a marshmallow. And what they said is, if you can wait until I come back into this room, we will double your marshmallow. I will give you 2 marshmallows. And they found that the children who were able to resist the temptation to eat the marshmallow or request the marshmallow before the experiment was done, so those who delayed the gratification and received 2 marshmallows, had better outcomes over the course of their lives. So the original study was conducted in the 70s, and they followed up on these children in the 80s and the 90s, and they found that the children who exhibited this delayed gratification, being able to delay pleasure in the present, right? To push the pleasure into the future and do something hard. And in this experiment, it states that the kids who were able to delay gratification successfully often sang songs. They might have, pounded their feet. They would have been in agony because there's this delicious marshmallow in front of them. And for a young child, it's very hard not to go ahead and grab that. And the children who implemented these strategies just did better when they looked at their SAT scores in the 90s. These kids, statistically significantly did better than their counterparts who couldn't resist that delicious marshmallow. So the question is, now, if we look at our lives, really, our lives are it's just a bunch of decision trees. Every day, every hour, every minute, every second, we're faced with decisions. And we're always given an easy path and a hard path. And it's not always that we should always be picking the hard path, but it's overwhelmingly what path are we leaning towards. If you imagine the easy path is on your left and the hard path is on your right, and every time you make a decision, you get offered another 2 paths. If the overwhelming majority of your decisions are the easy paths, so you keep veering left, you will eventually have a hard life. And if the overwhelming majority of your decisions are on the right, so if you keep taking the hard path, you will end up having an easier life. And so over the course of a lifetime, depending on where you veer, you can end up on 2 big sides of the spectrum. And the reason I think that this is so true in modern society is there's obviously a reason that as humans we've been wired to kind of seek instant gratification. Delaying gratification is not something normal for us. We've only been living in these complex societies for maybe, and maybe I'm being conservative, or maybe I'm not being optimistic. Somebody who's more advanced in the study of human history might possibly knows the answer, a better answer to this than I do. But if we have been kind of living in these complex societies, maybe for the last 3,000 to 4,000 years. Let me put it out there. Let's give it a nice number, 5,000 years. But we as humans have been living in the wilderness for so much longer, right? We're so much older than 5,000 years. 5,000 years is a blip in our evolution. And we've obviously evolved to look at a bright red berries and eat them instantaneously. And that's because it comes down to survival. If you were somebody who decided not to eat the food that was in front of you 100,000 years ago, you're going to starve. It makes sense to eat the food and accumulate fat, because that's what's going to allow you to fight the next day and survive. And now we live in a very different society. We have very different environments. The fact that I live in a house with a refrigerator where I can open this refrigerator and eat whatever I want, and the fact that I'm a 10 to 15 minute walk away from a supermarket where not only is there meat and vegetables already, slaughtered and harvested on my behalf, it is so easily accessible for me. We just have not evolved yet to live in the world that we currently live in. And delayed gratification is absolutely 100%. It's stupid 100,000 years ago. But in modern society, it's one of those things where it makes a lot of sense, because you look around and look at the people who have become successful. And I'm not talking about the people who've won the lottery, because here's the thing about the lottery. If you don't know how to manage finances and you win money, majority of lottery winners, lose all their winnings and they go back to being in the position they started off in, because they just don't know how to handle that money. It's just too much money for them to control. So delayed gratification is such an important thing. And just keep in mind that every time you make a choice, are you veering towards the left, the easy path, the blue pill? And I'm going to bring in a Matrix reference. Or are you veering towards the right, the hard path, the red pill? And that's not to say that you need to be taking the hard path all the time. God knows I ate a donut at Starbucks this weekend. And did I need to eat it? No, I didn't. And I realized when I got home that you're definitely 100% not skipping your 30-minute run today. And so it's not about being this perfect robot who always takes the option of delayed gratification, because we have not evolved to do that. I know in a moment of weakness, I saw a brightly colored pink donut at Starbucks and I bought it. Not a great decision. But then I know that there is a part of my rational brain which can choose to make choices where I delay gratification. And for me, that's studying for an exam. I'm working on my AWS certificates. I'm building an app to help take this podcast from an audio form to a video, which I want to put on YouTube. So these are forms of delayed gratification. It's something where I need to invest work over a period of months to get the result, to get the benefit from that. And I know that doing that, whilst it's difficult in the present, and I ran into somebody and they said, "Why are you working on the weekend? I thought you were joking. How do you not burn out?" And my only answer to that is I'm choosing to make as many ventures towards the hard path as I can. And if you're listening to this, this is just a reminder for you to stay on that hard path, because you might be looking at your peers who are having a great time, who are sipping pina coladas. Not that there's anything wrong with sipping a pina colada. And you might be thinking, wow, it looks really great over there. I kind of just want to give up my goals, give up my dreams, and just go do something fun. And you should do that. In fact, I have an episode on why you need to incorporate rest into your schedule. But overwhelmingly, if you want to do the things which are going to change the course of your life, and you might be listening to this wanting to change your career, to go into something new, that is going to require a significant amount of activation energy, which means you are going to have to delay gratification. You are going to have to get on that hard path, but remember, if you stay on that hard path, you will eventually have an easy life. And vice versa, if you always take the easy path, you will have a very hard life, because we do not live as cavemen and women in a society where we need to eat the berries right now. We have refrigerators. We have currency. We live in a world where we can store value, and as a result, delayed gratification is one of the most important things you can do. And of course, balance that out by enjoying the present and enjoying the process. But overwhelmingly, you need to delay gratification. And with that, I will leave this episode there, and to all of you listening to this, I wish you great success on all your endeavors. You've just made it through another episode of Monologues by Hassie. It brings me great pleasure to know that you made it to the end. To listen to more episodes, subscribe on your favorite podcast app or visit monologuesbyhassie.com. Thanks for swinging by.